Welcome back to another episode of DeLorean Tech and another Bring a Trailer auction live stream. And we have Chris Miles on the line as well. How's it going, Chris?
Doing good.
So what do you think about this car, man?
Well, it's early.
Early VIN, right?
Gas swept hood. The mileage is low, so that's interesting.
Very low, 1,300. So what do you think? This thing's probably sat for a very long time.
People are commenting about how the interior isn't as nice as it should be for that low, but
well,
yeah. Those naysayers. I think most of the interior looks really good. It's just the seats are worn, but that's not.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, the reality is, if it's a 40-plus-year-old car, so if in a very early VIN, and yeah, so maybe the interior doesn't look as nice, but you know, when you're talking about low miles and interior, there's never a correlation, right? In terms of, hey, the interior needs to look a lot nicer for a 1,300-mile car. That's not always the case, right? Depends on how well the car was maintained, all that good stuff, right? Storage, yep.
Very original, but with some, updates. Like, for example, the relays were redone.
Yeah, so I kind of went through the auction. I haven't had a whole lot of time to look at I did notice he put the like a driving video up, so that's cool.
I saw your comment about that, so he probably listened to you.
Yep, hopefully. No, it looks like he did. So the only thing that stood out, I mean, we talked about it, right? So the car maybe sat for a while. It obviously sat for a while, 1,300 miles, 40-plus years. But there was some missing records, or it was, I can't remember where I saw that.
I think they said there was a gap in Carfax data.
Yep. Got a gap in, I don't see that anymore. Well, it was there before. I think he bought it in 2009, so it was a gap between 2009 and like current. Oh, there it is. So there's a gap in reporting history between 2009 and current. But he was able to, yeah. So he put a driving video up, which I took a look at it. It looked okay. I think it might be good enough. He's not really showing where he's driving around, but that's probably okay because as long as he's driving, right? And he did show some, like, I guess he's got a GoPro or something hooked up to the back. Yeah, there you go. So I mean, the car runs. The car drives. I think we're okay there. I didn't notice any issues. I don't know. Did you notice anything, Chris?
Not really. It all seems to be there. Like
what is going on with the chat?
I kind of read through most of it.
So I'm looking at the driving video right now. I mean, it looks like it's running pretty good. He did a pretty okay video here. I mean, he's kind of got his phone just kind of laying like on his stomach or something. I thought was kind of odd, but hey, whatever works. I mean, it's obvious he couldn't get a passenger to record for him, so, and it is a manual, so we all know how hard it is to record while you're driving a manual transmission car if you're holding something, right? So it is what it is. I have been there, done that, and it's not easy. So probably shouldn't even be attempting to do that. So I didn't notice anything weird. He has a kind of a cool. I'm trying to do a full screen and it's not popping up, but showing the car just kind of driving by. This car is in Florida, right?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. So he obviously did, it was a one-man filming job. He set up like a tripod or something in a grassy area and kind of filmed the car driving by, which I thought was good enough, I think. Then he's got a video about the doors here as well, which I was kind of hoping he would show them opening up and kind of holding right at the top end, but I think he's just kind of showing that the alignment, the door pins are aligned okay, and they look okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they close, open and close pretty smoothly. So we're at 50,125, which is a lot better than I think the last car. I haven't done a live stream here in probably more than a month, I think. I can't even remember. It was probably like early July or something the last time. Just been too busy with stuff, and they haven't really been scheduling them compatible times, that kind of stuff. So the last DeLorean live stream that we did was about maybe 2 or 3 auctions ago. The last car to sell only sold for $41,900. Remember that. And then I think our auction, the one we did, might have been the one that sold for $44,888, something like that, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it was the one for $61. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But we got that one that sold for $52 on July 19th. So, you know, prices are all over the place. You got $10,000 swings in any direction, you know. 61, 44, 52, 41, you know. We're at 50 right now. So
I'm not sure what was wrong with this one that sold for 41, but
yeah, I didn't pay attention to that one either. Yeah, I mean, it looked okay. I just, you know, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I mean, it's got some interior issues. It might have just been a fixer-upper.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the steering wheel. I'm looking at it right now.
It's like a wood grain steering wheel.
Something, yeah. I don't know what's going on there. But it wasn't super clean.
It's just faded.
Yeah, faded. Right.
It looked like it was brown in one picture. Or something like that.
Right. So, but did he put a driving video? Engine running. Walk around, walk around. He put a lot of videos, but I don't see. Well, I don't see a driving video on that last one. So, who knows? That could be why. You know, it's a, you know. So we're still at 50,000. Got less than 2 minutes on this one. 50,125. What's your prediction on this one, Chris?
It's probably gonna go to 55, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Mid-50s.
It's got some like updated parts, a new alternator and starter, and the relays have been done.
Okay.
Stainless coolant tank. So some things. You might have put some new coolant hoses on it at some point.
You know, it's an early VIN, very low miles. It's got the window sticker. I would expect it to go for at least 60 myself. It's a driving, running car. I know the early VIN, low mile cars seem to be maybe in more demand. I don't know. It just seems that way. You know, these low mile cars usually get a lot more for whatever reason. I mean, I guess people think, hey, low miles, you know, it's in better shape, you know.
One would hope.
And that's really it, right? It's just, you know, you never know.
The angle drive was replaced.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty poor service. 1,100 miles on the original angle drive.
Yeah. So we're up to 50,625. So we'll take a look at some of the photos here. And the car looks, you know, in reasonable shape. Obviously, it's sat. Did you notice any frame corrosion or anything like that? Integrity issues?
It looks really good. There's
Looks
might be
good.
some like surface rust, but like very small, and it looks like it's not really an issue.
Yeah. Might have been stored outside for some of its time, at least looking at the engine compartment here.
But yeah, the frame looks good. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any like red flags or anything.
It's got no reserve, so that's
It's gonna sell.
yeah, it'll sell. That usually, when you see that, I think when potential bidders see that, they tend to keep the auction going versus when you have a reserve. You tend to get into bidding wars a little bit more with no reserve cars. So let's see what happens here. Looks okay. 54.5. So you were getting close to your prediction here. Let's see what happens. It's a Florida car, so you're probably going to see it. And I don't know, I didn't really study this to see if it was always a Florida car or it just happens to be in Florida right now. The frame and everything looks okay. It's fairly clean underneath. We've seen a hell of a lot worse. So this is not too bad. I mean, I see some superficial corrosion on the axles themselves, the shafts. But everything else looks pretty good for an early VIN, right?
Mm-hmm. Somewhere it said the car came from North Carolina originally.
Okay, so roughly the same vicinity.
Yeah, exactly.
So the angle drive has been replaced. You can tell there was some work done on it. It looks fairly clean and everything there. So you got the cable. I'm just looking at the front driver's side suspension area. Looks fairly clean. Everything looks really clean. Oh, it's got different fans in there?
I didn't see those. They have white blades.
Yeah, they got white blades. They're Bosch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are replacement fans.
Okay.
They're an original style fan, but they're new.
Okay.
You know.
Got it. So like the next model, the next generation model, the same ones that everybody has. Yeah.
They're beefy and pull a lot of air, but they're not 40 years old. So.
Right. All right, so we're at 56,000 with only 56.5. So we are passing your prediction, and we're heading towards mine. 60,000. That's at 57 now.
So now it's just going to keep resetting until everyone's done.
Right. Until we hit that magic number. Whatever that magic number is. What is this? Not even sure what that is. I'm looking at something right now. 1555. I like that VIN number. Anything with 55 or 88, seems to be, might pull in a little bit more. Yeah. That's on the frame there. There's a number, a little plate that has 908 or something on it.
Okay, so that's the frame number.
Frame number? Okay.
Which, isn't never going to match, but, it's pretty close to the
Pretty close, yeah, close enough. 908 and whatever this was, 1555, right? It's relatively close.
Well, and take 500 away, so we're at 1,000. So.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Forgot about that one. Because they started at 500 or so. So, yeah, good point. All right, where are we at? 58.5, so we're getting to 60. Now, what about maintenance records? Did you see anything or any mention of that? There's no photos of anything.
No, just photographs of the workshop manual.
Yeah, big deal.
Well, like I said, they replaced the starter and alternator. There are new relays. They did the coolant hose kit, it looks like.
Yeah.
Pictures.
He's got photos of the original Paris-Rhone starter and the Ducelier alternator that will come with the car. So that's kind of cool if you're a concours type of guy, So it's always a little bonus.
It has everyone seems to point out the fuel lines. And there's some guy who's always saying you shouldn't have to change them out just because they're old.
Oh, is that guy there again? Oh,
Yeah,
man. Jeez. Hopefully by now, people are just like, okay, whatever, dude. Yeah, let's not replace the fuel lines. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think we're like so past that, right? But I guess you still got these guys out there. What do they call them? Trolls? Trolls or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, so the seller is saying there have been about, they're at 62,000. So we have hit my prediction. This might be on its way to 70. Who knows? The only person who has driven the car since 2009, very few have sat in it. So we're at less than a minute. Talking about the seats, improper cleaning chemical. They're just, if these are original seats, then they're just old. It's just how it is.
Right.
You know, people are forgetting about the element of time and leather, right? I mean, it's just. Yeah, my seats are not the original seats. They were replaced. I have the records for that. Oh yeah, they were replaced at some point by DeLorean 1. Because, you know, the original owners of my car, they were on the concours competition circuit with the car. So it had to be perfect, right? And they drove the hell out of the car, too. So, you know, getting in and getting out of the car, that causes, you know, wear and tear on those leather seats, no matter what you do. And no matter how much you maintain those seats, something's going to, you know, and it's usually the right shoulder area on the upper part of the seat that starts to show signs of wear. I see it on my car. You can tell it's just because they drove the car a lot, right? They sat in it a lot. So you're going to get that. And unless you're like using, you know, something super high tech on it to prevent any sort of wear and tear, you're going to get it no matter what. Even if you're not sitting in it, right? Just the fact that the car is just itself sitting and you're not maintaining that leather for 40 years, you're going to have issues with it. Now, I didn't see anything that really stood out on the leather. That's like the last thing I would worry about.
Right.
You know, because fuel or not fuel, but seat covers like replacement. That's available, right? You can get that. That's not even an issue.
Yeah, the dash and the binnacle look like they're in good shape.
So here we go again. This guy Merck, that's the guy, right? I see the fuel lines came up. I've owned mine for many miles and many years. All original, except tires. Well, at least he's got that, right? He found it in his heart to replace the NCTs. So he's not all that risky, right? Trying to live risky here. This is kind of crazy.
Well, it looks like there's two guys fighting it out.
Oh, Mr. Chalky, there you go. That guy sounds familiar. Is he the guy that's for replacement of the fuel lines?
Yeah. Useful Shrimp and OCO Voss 1 are currently battling it out.
Yeah.
Checking for last and second bids.
15 seconds left. $63,001. Are we gonna sell for 63? We're getting close. Oh, went up a little bit. I got a little bidding war here. I like this. And that makes sense, right? I mean, again, early VIN, low miles. It's got, you know, a lot of stuff with it. It was 65,000 now, so we are heading towards 70. So it passed both of our predictions. This could go up into the 80s. Who knows, right? Again, low miles, early VIN, more sought after, right? All that kind of stuff. Useful Shrimp. So you got two guys bidding on this thing here. That could be a lurker, though. You never know, right? So Okovis 1 and Useful Shrimp. Let's take a look at these guys. See what we have. So Okovis 1 has bid on a DeLorean before. That was last year, over a year ago. He's been on a couple other cars. Not a whole lot of activity. Hasn't gotten anything here on Bring a Trailer. It doesn't look recent. He's got 19 bids, but I'm only showing like. Oh, he's that's including the 16 on this car. Okay.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. So we're 65, and you got 40 seconds left. 65,000, which would be a respectable amount for this car, but we'll see what happens. Again, I mean, you never know with these auctions here. So, I mean, I'm looking at the leather right now. I mean, yeah, I've seen a hell of a lot worse, right? We have a video that proves we've seen a hell of a lot worse. Yeah, when you have rats living in the car for decades, you know.
Chewing on the foam.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 65,000. Let's see what happens here. That might be it, guys. I think we're done. 65,000 for this early VIN. Yep, that's it. So, winning bid. So, Okovis won. He finally got his DeLorean. 65,000 for this 5-speed, black interior, early VIN 81 with very low miles on it. 1300 original. VIN 1555, kind of a unique VIN, kind of a cool, well, they're all unique, right? But it's kind of a cool VIN, right? 1555. Right. Cool. Yeah, so it passed both of our predictions.
It's a good price.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, for sure. Good price. Congrats to the seller and winner. So this is one of those auctions where I think it was a fair price for both parties. Versus some of the other auctions we saw where, you know, if these things go in the 40s, you know, and looks like a good card, then yeah, I mean, tough break for the seller, right? Trying to get something like this. Of course, and you see some of these guys paying 80,000, right? You don't see that a whole lot anymore, though.
Yeah,
like those days.
If you buy it from a DeLorean dealer.
Yeah, like a refurbished car, stuff like that, right? But that's a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at that then. Let's take a look at some of these auction results that we've had recently. So 65, 41, 52, 44, 61. So last time a car broke 60 was in June, not that long ago, 2 months ago. Then you've got 54, 42, 62, 63. So we're kind of back up into the April through June pricing for some of these cars. Yeah, like low miles, I guess, potentially. Last time we saw in the 70s was in February, so quite a while ago. Got a bid up to 65. There was a reserve car back in December. And then back last year, late last year, is when you saw some of these cars going into the 80s. So those days might be done.
For now.
For now, yeah. Yeah, cars selling for 82 last year. A couple of them late last year. And then you had one that sold for 72 early this year. That was, I think, the highest for this year. 65 though, not bad.
I think so, yeah. I think it's more than, I would pay.
Of course, but you already have one, so.
I know.
And same here, right? And I know you didn't pay nearly as much as this. You probably didn't even pay nearly as much as I paid for mine. I don't know. I didn't pay very much for mine. I thought that was a lot back then. That was only 5 years ago. You bought yours what?
12.
12? Okay. So what was pricing like about 12 years ago? Things were like what in the 20s still, right?
Yeah, I got mine for 2024.
24. Okay. And that was
Yeah.
12. I got mine 5 years ago for 28,250. So it didn't really go up that much in the 7 years or whatever between your car and my car, right?
Well,
And then
and private party helps a lot.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
I mean, if GMC sold your car for that lady, they probably would have tried to get over 50 back then.
True. I did remember when I was shopping around. Pricing was kind of all over the place back then as well too. I mean, I remember seeing, when I went over to Beverly Hills Car Club just to like scout DeLoreans. I always had like half a dozen or so, and pricing there was ridiculous. Of course, the cars were in really shitty condition. It was bad. And they had one. I remember the first time I went there, they had one. They were asking 49 for it, and this is before I bought my car. So, and I remember seeing some on like Craigslist. So one guy was asking like 60. So even back then, 5 years ago, they had cars. People were asking quite a bit for them. It all depended on the upgrades and all that kind of stuff, right? It wasn't until lately, past few years here, where you see more consistent sales up in the 70s and 80s and beyond. Of course, now it's softening. You got 50s, 40s still, and obviously here's a higher one in the 60s, right? 60s used to be kind of low maybe a year or two ago. Wow, it only sold for 60. So yeah, I mean it's really hard to predict what this car is going to get, right? Just DeLoreans in general. But this car here, clearly low miles. It's got, it's an early VIN, so that's gonna help, right? Those things are gonna help regardless.
Right.
Unless you're, if you just want a DeLorean, period, you don't care. Maybe the only thing you care about is whether or not it's an automatic or a manual, right? And that's a big deal for most owners, I feel like, right? Everything else, I have to have a gas flap hood. Oh, come on, really? I don't know.
Only the devoted fans really have all these different things figured out ahead of time,
Of course, yeah. Now, collectors may want an earlier car, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that.
Or just low mileage in general.
Low mileage in general, right?
Collectors think is good.
Right. Yeah, just as a collector, they're just thinking, well, it's going to make the car more valuable when I need to sell it, right? And, that gas flap, low miles, maybe they can clean it up a bit, make it a concours type car with all original stuff. Not really a driving, everyday kind of driving type car, or like a weekend car, whatever, right? Something that you're going to, drive to a club meetup with other DeLorean owners and stuff like that, which a lot of potential buyers of the car right now, that's what they want, because the community is so big, and there's there's a lot going on with the community. Still, DCS, for example, we all went out there. 78 DeLoreans at DeLorean Midwest. That's big. That's significant, right?
There's a lot of following for our cars.
For sure. So Useful Shrimp, just looking at him, he was the other bidder on it. I think his threshold was 65, and he hadn't bid on another DeLorean. At least doesn't look like it. He's just got a couple other Porsche and a VW bus. But it looked like he wanted this DeLorean, and 63.5 was his final bid on it.
Useful Shrimp said, "Thanks for the fun. But it's all yours. I wish I could go higher, but my bank account doesn't allow it."
Hey, everybody has their limit, right? As far as how much they can pay. I think we've all kind of been there, done that. Mine was 30. I was determined not to pay more than 30,000 for mine, and I didn't. Mm-hmm. Right? That was it. That obviously has changed significantly for current buyers, current people looking to purchase the DeLorean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was kind of a fun auction here. I think again, let's take a look at the chat to see if we have anyone in there. All right. That t-shirt is nice. Yeah, so this t-shirt here, this is available from DeLorean Midwest, and personally I really love it. I don't know, did you pick up one of these while you were in Chicago, Chris? One of the...
Are you wearing the taillight one?
Yes.
I wanted that one. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, no, I looked at that. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get that. I gotta get that. And I think that was...
The shirt was my favorite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that one. I also picked up the one with the wheel on the back, the DeLorean Midwest in the front. Kind of like their shop shirt that they wear. But this shirt is really cool. I really like it a lot. I should have picked up more. I just bought one. Yeah, I should have picked up. I guess I could always order some extras from them, but really like it. So that's Ronnie Mayhoff. What's the value of the last sorted out DeLorean that sold, reliable LED conversion, etc.? I don't know. What do you think? I mean, the last one that sold, the last sorted out car? Hard to say. Yeah, that's right. Almost 60,000, right? So that's about right. Yeah, that's why I thought 65 for this one seemed pretty good. Nothing, off about it. So somewhere in the 60s is kind of where I'm calling it for sorted out. I don't know if I would call this one a sorted out car. I mean,
no, it needs work, but
right, it does need some work, but it's driving. I mean, it's running. It's running. It's driving. It didn't seem like the guy had any issues, like driving the car. So, I mean, it all depends. You're 40 years old. You never know what the car has gone through unless it's actually stated in the sale, in the listing, all that kind of stuff. You just never know, right? You just kind of have to go off. And again, like we always say, it's always better to go check out the car in person. I know that's easier said than done. But if you're really serious about getting one, I would really recommend doing that. That's really the safest bet. Otherwise, you're taking a chance, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So this gives me hope that I'll be able to get my hands on one eventually. Yeah, I mean, if prices are kind of coming down a little bit, softening, they're not going to drop completely all the way to, 30s again. I just don't see that happening. But, 40s and 50s, that's not, too far out of reach for most people. I think that maybe if they really want the car, right?
Right.
So yeah, never give up. So Ronnie's saying never give up. I wonder, so Aaron's saying, I wonder how often the Stage 2 Plus examples come up for sale bid. Not very often. So because that's an upgrade that is rather expensive, and most people do it because they plan on keeping the car. They just want to drive it and they want it to go faster, right? So the idea is to improve the performance, all that kind of stuff. So they just don't come up for sale. I don't know how many have been, gotten the Stage 2 upgrade. Not very many. The majority of cars are still running the standard stuff, stock engine, no Stage 2. So they would not come up for auction. I want to say the last one that I remember was that Hot Wheels one. At least that's, here on Bring a Trailer. They don't come up for bid too much. But the reality is that you can just buy one, and if you want to do it, it's going to cost some money. I heard it's a lot more than it used to be, but
yeah, it is.
What is it? What, 15,000?
Yeah, at least.
At least, yeah. So it used to be like 7 or 8, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna pay a lot if you want that. I also heard kind of mixed reviews about the Stage 2. Like some guys that got it didn't notice a difference. Others saying, yeah, I noticed a difference. So I don't know. I know you don't have it, right?
I don't have it. Just get a nice, stainless exhaust or something and just call it a day.
Yeah, you can upgrade the exhaust. Again, I don't know that makes a massive difference or not. Maybe it does. It really just depends. It depends on how the car is just running in general, too. The better the car is running, any sort of performance upgrades are going to make more of a difference. If not, then they probably won't.
Yeah.
Right? Scale 1 to 10. How good is this car out from the pictures? This one here, I mean, scale of 1 to 10. I mean,
All of
7.
the photos are taken far away, so
Yeah.
I mean, there are some up close ones, but I didn't see any like major like stainless dents or anything.
Right. Right. Yeah, I didn't see anything major. I mean, I'd give it like, if you're just looking at it visually, it's probably like between a 7 and an 8 maybe. Then that kind of factors in all the other cars, right, that are out there.
Well, the fascias, they're nice. I mean, they don't have eyebrows or.
Yeah.
The fit looks good. I mean, that says a lot.
How much will the seller end up getting? What do all of the fees end up costing the seller? That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know the percentage. Is it 10 at least 10 or something like that?
It could be. Yeah, I know that was I thought the buyer had to pay something too. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just, I've never. I watch cars on Bring a Trailer, but I've never like purchased one off Bring a Trailer before. I've never won an auction or anything, so I just don't know. I haven't really researched it. I would imagine there's it's like eBay, right? You're gonna have to pay something. Although eBay Motors, what I remember is that there's a flat fee for just listing the car. I think it's not like a percentage or something like that. So that's what I remember.
Yeah.
So there might be something similar on Bring a Trailer. I just don't know. Yes, it's a low VIN. Sorted out is exactly what I mean. DeLorean speak. Yep. Alrighty, so ends another Bring a Trailer auction. Don't know if there will be another one anytime soon. This car, again, not bad. 65,000. Does need some work if the buyer intends to do some driving with it. You're gonna need to do fuel system stuff. I don't know if there was anything other than well, obviously the fuel lines would need to be replaced on this, but I don't know if they did anything else. I thought the fuel filter looked kind of newish. It didn't
Probably.
look.
Yeah. I saw that. Probably newer.
Cool.
They
All
have a
right.
good old screw in the mixture hole. If you saw that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The plunger.
yeah. That'll need to be resolved. But that's not a hard fix, I don't think.
No. That was funny.
So Alex Clixto is saying there is a flat fee for the seller. Buyer pays 5% on top. Okay, so the buyer pays 5% on top. So it's a flat fee for the seller, which makes sense. And like I said, there's a certain percentage that the buyer has to pay. I do remember seeing something, but I don't know what the percentage is. And of course, there's the shipping that you're going to have to incur, and that's not cheap. I know a friend of ours, who I'm not going to say any names and who it is, but a friend bought a DeLorean, a parts car, and had it shipped. Is having it shipped down here, probably the next couple weeks, and it's a lot. It's like $3,000 or something, several $1,000s on top of the sale price. And it depends on how many miles, too. I mean, you can find a deal, right? But it's going to cost thousands, a couple thousand at least, I would think. Especially if you're talking enclosed, all that kind of stuff, right? It's going to cost some money. And then I guess there's also, registration taxes and things like that on the sale, right? You got to pay those taxes,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of stuff. So this guy's going to be in the 70s when it's all said and done.
Yeah, sure.
All right, everybody. So I think we're going to wrap it up. So hopefully they will have another auction in the near future here so we can jump on it. So this one worked out because it's on a Sunday, not on a work day, luckily. Hopefully they keep that going. The last couple I couldn't do mainly because, well, the last one happened, I think, when we were at DCS, so we obviously couldn't do it there. We're too busy doing other videos, right? So that was a really awesome show. And you and I did a talk on that, actually, recently, on DeLorean Talk with Dave. So that's available. I just saw that pop up. So if you're interested,
DCS wrap up.
yeah, the wrap up, right? The DCS wrap up. So if anyone is out there is interested in seeing or hearing about what we thought about DCS, which we loved it, right? But if you want to hear like some of the details, there is a channel called DeLorean Talk on YouTube. You can just type that in, and the last episode is Chris and I talking about DCS, kind of what we liked about it, all that good stuff. And I fully thoroughly enjoyed it myself, and I know you did too, Chris. So
yeah.
So the next one will be in a couple years. We are DeLorean Tech. We are planning on a show probably in November, Chris. So just FYI, I was talking with Chad about it yesterday. We didn't do Stainless Summer 3. We wrapped that up, the trilogy. And we are going to enter into a new type of show. We're calling it Driving the Dream. And it's tentative for like the weekend of November 11th, 12th. We got to figure out what we're going to do there. It might just be a one day. It's going to be a combination of a driving experience as well as a DeLorean meetup car show barbecue kind of thing. At least that's what we're thinking about right now. So
swap meets are cool.
Swap meet, the whole nine, yeah.
Want to do that, yeah.
Yep, the swap meets are really cool. There's always some, I know I've bought stuff at some of those swap meets before. Mm-hmm. It could be a bad thing because you end up spending a lot of money, right? Stuff that, oh man, here we go, right? Gotta buy that. So it is what it is. So we'll do that in November, mainly in the same location. So Winchester, California. There's the Ortega Highway. We're planning on doing the drive on the Ortega Highway there, which is a cool drive. Talking to Skip about it yesterday a little bit. He drove that before, so that should be fun. Then we need to figure out if we are going to do a barbecue or if we're going to meet somewhere and eat. So we're kind of fine-tuning the details on that show. So that should be kind of a fun one. Again, that's more of a local show, but it's always open to everybody, right? All DeLorean owners. So bring your DeLorean and let's have some fun. So if you remember the Carbon Canyon run, we didn't do that one this year either because, again, that was a trilogy. We wrapped that up. This one is going to be sort of a hybrid of the Carbon Canyon run and Stainless Summer 3. That's kind of the idea there. So we're going to combine the two together, sort of like we did in one of the last of the Carbon. I think the Carbon Canyon Run 3, we did a car show after that as well. The Good Times Tech Day for, I think we did a DeLorean 40th anniversary deal. That was pretty cool as well. So we'll be doing that one in November. It's called Driving the Dream. We'll be dropping some information about that. Hopefully I can get something out today. I just haven't had time. So we'll get that one going. DeLorean Weekend is coming up. I don't know if you're planning on going to that. I want to go to that. That's October, like the second weekend in October, I think. Mm-hmm. That's always a good show. I missed the last one, I think, because there was going to be the DMC Houston open house, but then that ended up getting canceled. I don't think they're going to do it. So I'd like to go to that. I just got to look at the calendar. It's always a fun one.
I also want to plug the DeLorean Connect event.
Oh yeah,
in the Bay Area.
Yes.
I'm planning to go.
Yeah, DeLorean Connect. So DeLorean Connect is hosted by the NorCal DeLorean Club, and I know that Mark Woodma had kind of tried to pull that off, and then the pandemic sort of like prevented it from going forward. Right? That's what I remember.
Right now he's getting back into the swing here, so hopefully we'll have a cool inaugural event. And
so Alex is saying, So Alex is saying we need to come out for DeLorean Weekend. So we'll. So Alex, we're gonna try to do that. So we've got.
Hey,
so DeLorean Connect. That's September 16th, and I'm still tentative. I'm trying to work something out right now, and I know you're gonna be there. So that's gonna be cool. So and probably quite a few of the NorCal DeLorean owners. I'm not sure how many of the SoCal are going to make the drive up. I haven't really spoken with some of the guys about that yet. We'll see what happens. But it seems like it's a pretty cool show. And then, so every month, right, you've got that one. Then in October, you have DeLorean Weekend. And in November, you have Driving the Dream from DeLorean Tech. So that's going to be 3 shows in a row there, once a month for the next 3 months.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. Chris, once again, thanks for joining us, as always. Appreciate the input on these cars from you. And once again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you all in the next live stream.
See you later.